The 1913 report filed by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police did not tell the whole truth. In the dead of winter, 4 armed officers entered the remote Nahanni Valley, swallowed by snow, fog, and silence. Only 3 came back. The 4th never left that valley alive. The official record claimed it was a death caused by extreme weather, but a sealed patrol journal, hidden away for 31 years, described something far more disturbing. It spoke of an unknown presence that watched them for 3 straight days from the mountain ridge above. Welcome back to our channel. Tonight we're opening one of the darkest and most chilling files ever connected to the Valley of the Headless. This story was later recounted by Elias Drum, a 74-year-old former officer who carried the memory of that mission like a wound for the rest of his life. In November 1913, Elias and 3 fellow policemen were sent into Nahanni to search for 2 missing prospectors, Braun and Sutter. They traveled under brutal conditions, with temperatures dropping to nearly -30 degrees Celsius. The valley they entered was already feared by local indigenous hunters, who spoke of it in whispers and called it a place belonging to things older than mankind itself. Their unease deepened the moment they discovered the miners' camp. The tents were still standing. Supplies were untouched. Food remained by the fire as if someone had just stepped away. And yet, there was no sign of either man. It looked less like abandonment and more like disappearance, as though the camp's occupants had simply been erased. The most unsettling clue was Braun's diary. 1 sentence had been left unfinished. 3rd night now. Something on the eastern ridge, not a wolf, not a bear, something else. He never got to finish the thought. That very first night at the abandoned camp, Elias and the others began to understand why. Their sled dogs, animals hardened by wilderness travel, suddenly pressed themselves together in terror. They kept staring up toward the mountain, trembling violently, without making a sound. Then, in the stillness, something echoed across the valley. It was not the roar of an animal. It was rhythmic, controlled, almost deliberate. A low, resonant call rolled through the darkness like the voice of some enormous creature speaking into the night. But the true horror revealed itself on the 3rd night. It was well past midnight. The temperature had fallen to -38. Elias was standing watch when the dogs began whining again. He looked toward the frozen river. Roughly 20 meters away, across the ice, stood a figure. It was upright, immense, somewhere between 8 and 10 feet tall, with shoulders far too broad to belong to any man. It did not charge. It did not move. It simply stood there, staring directly at their camp. The officers woke and raised their rifles, ready to fire. But the thing never attacked. For 11 long minutes, it remained motionless, watching them. Then it stepped back and vanished into the dark. At first light, they found tracks in the snow. They were huge, oval-shaped impressions pressed deep into the frozen ground, deeper than what any grizzly or northern predator should have left behind. Then they found Braun, or rather, what was left of him. His body had been carefully placed inside a rocky hollow high along the cliffside. There were no signs of scavenging, no evidence of a fall, no indication that nature had done this by chance. Whatever had taken him had positioned the remains there on purpose, almost as if it wanted the officers to find them. A warning, a message written in death. The team leader, shaken beyond reason, ordered an immediate retreat. But even then, the nightmare was not over. As they fled the valley, they spotted the same towering shape moving along the ridge above them. It did not rush them. It did not try to strike. Instead, it kept pace. Step for step, it traveled parallel to the sled team from the mountain heights, escorting them out like intruders being driven from forbidden land. Only when they finally passed beyond the first canyon did it stop. There, on a high outcrop, the dark figure stood against the sky and slowly lifted one massive arm, almost like a final gesture to the survivors below. When the officers returned to base, the commander wrote the report in simple terms: death by natural exposure and environmental hazards. The giant prints were dismissed as possible tracks from a bear or wolverine. Silence was easier than telling the truth, because the truth suggested that something unknown, intelligent, and territorial was ruling that valley from the shadows. So what do you think was really waiting in Nahanni Valley? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss our next terrifying mystery. See you in the next video.